If your living room is dusty and needs a refresh, let me show you the best way to clean that up. Welcome to week 4 of the spring cleaning spree. Now to kick things off, we're going to do the first 2 items on the checklist, which is in-depth dust and clean any light fixtures and fans if you have them. Now a rule when it comes to dusting, I've said this a lot, but that is to always start at the top and work your way down to the floor. Now I like to start with the light fixtures and things and the fan if you have one in the room, just because again, all that dust is going to be floating kind of down towards the floor there, and if you dust another surface that's below that, it's going to get dirty again, and we're just not cleaning as efficient. One thing that can make dusting those really high areas much easier and so you don't have to use a ladder is an extendable duster. Now I know every space doesn't need these, but if you do need one for yours, check the YouTube shopping tab or even link down below. I have the 2 I really like to use. The second rule of dusting is to actually remove the dust from the room. And this is so important because if you just kind of move it around and spread it around the surface and it starts floating in the air, when you go to sit in your living room once you're done cleaning, it's gonna settle all down again. You're gonna think, what did I even clean? Everything's dusty again. If that's happened to you, don't worry. I'm gonna show you a few tools that actually pick it up and pull it out of the room. The first tool is a Swiffer duster. And I know, you might be thinking, Brandon, of course, that's the most basic tool ever. But the reason I like these so much is because they're small and compact and just easy and quick to use. I usually always have one in my back pocket. But the other thing is they're designed to actually trap the dust inside and remove it from the area. Many times you can even dust something really bad, give it a shake, and nothing falls out. And I love that because again, we're taking it out of the room and not just spreading it around. I used to use like old feather dusters and things like that and a few other ones commercially. And I just stopped using those because I noticed that they were making a bigger mess and just weren't giving me the results I wanted. So I switched to Swiffer and I've been using them ever since. The second tool is a newer addition to my cleaning kit in the last few years, and that is a damp duster from Scrub Daddy. Now these work great on flat surfaces. Specifically, I like to use them on like the window ledges and things like that. And I gotta say, I didn't really believe the hype at first when I seen these online, but wow, do they actually pick up the dust and do a really good job. The nice thing is once you're done dusting an area, you can just go brush it all off in the garbage can, rinse it in the sink, and keep cleaning. I also really like that they're reusable. Over time, they will dry out a little bit. Don't throw them away. Just rinse them in the sink again, kind of soften them up, warm them up a bit, and keep dusting. And the last tool is something you might have guessed already if you've watched the videos in the past, and that is classic microfiber towels. I absolutely love to clean with these things if you haven't noticed already. But when it comes to dusting, the way I like to use them is one, just a damp towel to remove all the dust from the surface, and then I come through with a dry clean microfiber towel and just buff and dry the surface, making sure it's nice and clean and there's no streaks left behind. Plus, when I notice that I use this 2-towel system, if the damp towel does leave behind a few pieces of dust, the dry one is always gonna come through and pick that up. Now, if you do need to upgrade your microfiber towels, or maybe you don't have any at all, that's okay. Check the link down in the description and on YouTube shopping here to check out my Clean That Up microfiber towels. I will say I'm a little biased here, but they're the best. One quick pro tip, if you do have some really dusty lampshades, is to use a lint roller. My wife showed me this tip. It works quick and easy and removes all the dust. There's 2 bonus things you can do during spring cleaning to help keep the dust down in your home. The first is change your AC and furnace filter. This is super helpful because if that gets clogged with hair and debris, unfortunately it's just gonna start blowing it throughout the rest of the house and make your space dirty faster. The other thing I like to have in pretty much every room in the home is an air purifier, but make sure that these are rated for the space so they can properly do their job. And similar to your HVAC system filter, you want to make sure that the filter on the air purifier is changed or cleaned on a regular basis, because if you don't do this, it's just going to get clogged and not be worth running. If you do notice any other bonus areas in your space that you want to make sure get cleaned, use the bottom of the checklist here so that way you don't forget. The next thing on the checklist is to clean our TV screen and electronics. For the TV, it's important to always make sure before we do any cleaning that it's unplugged. Then come through with either a Swiffer or a microfiber towel and give the TV a really good dust. We want to remove that first layer of dry debris that's on the surface there before we start wet cleaning. The next step of the process is super simple, and that is use my 2-towel system. One damp microfiber towel to clean and a dry clean microfiber towel to buff and dry. Now just grab your damp microfiber towel and just go up and down and work your way across the screen. Now I will say you want to make sure the damp microfiber towel is just damp to the touch. You do not want this dripping with water. Make sure to wring it out really, really well, because we don't want water to run down the TV and possibly get inside the TV, because that could again cause some damage. Many times you just got to go lightly across the screen and that will remove all those fingerprints and smudges. Now, once you're done cleaning, then I like to just grab the dry clean microfiber towel, and we're gonna go up and down just like we did with cleaning, but this is really gonna remove any remaining moisture and buff the surface so there's no streaks left behind. Now, in most cases, the damp towel will get your TV nice and clean. However, you might run across a few greasy fingerprints or areas that just aren't quite cleaning up there. So what I like to recommend using is a few drops of dish soap and distilled water in a spray bottle. Now, keep in mind though, is we don't want to go through and just spray the TV down with our cleaner, because if we do, sometimes that could run into the TV and cause damage. So what I recommend is spray a towel first, and honestly, you only need like 1 or 2 sprays. You don't need a ton of cleaner here. Clean that area, then come through with a damp towel, make sure to rinse it, and again, a dry, clean microfiber towel to dry and buff the surface to make sure it's all clean and there's no streaks left behind. The reason I don't like to use this cleaner on the entire TV is, to be honest, many times you just don't need it. Water will do great, but now you have that mix in your back pocket the next time you need it. My general rule of thumb when it comes to cleaning TVs or really anything delicate is to keep it simple and safe. Stay away from those specialty cleaners, especially ones that have alcohol in them. Alcohol can dissolve the special coatings that are on some TVs and cause damage. The other thing to stay away from is paper products like paper towel or even tissue paper, because these could potentially scratch. Once the TV's done, it's a good idea to dust any game systems you might have and wipe down any controllers and remotes. The next thing on the checklist is to clean our upholstery and furniture. To get started, give your furniture a really good vacuum. Now, what I like to do is grab my upholstery attachment and work at one end of the couch all the way to the other, making sure to overlap a little bit there and vacuum every square inch of the piece. Now, if your furniture does come apart a bit where your cushions are double-sided, make sure to vacuum both sides of those as well, because the goal here is if you do have any embedded hair or anything like that, we want to make sure it's completely gone. I know for myself, sometimes the vacuuming step is one that I kind of rush through, or maybe I just spot clean areas where I see debris buildup and things. However, take it from me, slow down, really take your time with this, just because it makes things so much easier through the next few steps. Now, once you've got all the cushions nice and vacuumed up, I like to remove those and vacuum the bottom there of the couch or the chair. Usually this is where you're gonna find chips, crumbs, and popcorn kernels and all sorts of things, so make sure that's fully removed. And then what I also like to do, if you have a crevice tool attachment with your vacuum, get along the edges there, because many times you'll find all sorts of stuff in there that, let's be real, you didn't even know was hiding down there. The next step of the cleaning process is to figure out if your piece can be cleaned with water. Now, to do this, usually you got to look at the tag and look for something called the clean code. Now, I have them all broke down here on the checklist, but what we're looking for is either a W or a W/S. This means they can be cleaned with water, but many times you might find an S or even an X. And the S means solvent, meaning dry clean only, so we can't use water on those. And the X means call a professional. Usually it's a very delicate piece. Sometimes it can be a little tricky to find the clean code or the tag on your piece. So if you can't find anything, don't worry. What I like to recommend then is type in the manufacturer's name along with care instructions, and usually you can find the proper process. The cleaner I like to use for this is my DIY alcohol mix. Just add 1 cup 70% isopropyl alcohol, 1 cup water, and about a teaspoon of Dawn dish soap to a spray bottle, and give it a good shake. For cleaning, there's a few different options that you can use depending on how dirty the piece is or really how in-depth you want to get with your clean. Now, let's say you just have a few spots. You can definitely just spot clean those with the DIY mix there. Now, the one thing I do recommend though is you want to make sure to flush everything out really good after letting the cleaner sit on there for a little bit. There's a few different ways you can do this. The first is just a damp towel. Those work pretty well, but my preferred way is using a little spotter machine. Shark makes something called the Stain Striker that I absolutely love. Fill that up with water only and completely flush that area out there. That way you're rinsing out not only the cleaner, but you're also rinsing out any of the grime that was sitting on the surface. One thing to keep in mind though is if you do have a really light colored piece, rather than just cleaning the spot there, I recommend cleaning the entire cushion, just because if you don't do this when it dries, you might get water spots. Because this is spring cleaning, I prefer just to clean everything. I don't know, I just feel like after winter, and because I have pets in the house and things, my couch and furniture gets a little stale, so it needs a good flush and reset. To do this, I like to clean 1 cushion at a time, spray my DIY mix down, and then lightly work that in with a towel, then come through with the spotter machine, again with water only. We don't want to add any cleaners because our goal here is to completely rinse and flush everything out. Once that's done, I move on to the next cushion and repeat that process until all the cushions are done, and then finish cleaning the rest of the piece. Now, I gotta be real, this isn't a super hard job, but it's just very time consuming. It can be big, especially if you have a large piece like a sectional with a ton of cushions. bins. It can take you a little time, but stick with it. You got this. And if you do need any more additional help, I have a full step-by-step video linked down below. Now, once everything is nice and clean, the last step is to get it dry as quickly as possible. So I like to kind of stand up all my cushions there and put some fans on there to get air flowing over the surface. That way all that moisture can evaporate. And the key here though is make sure it's 100% dry before you put it back together. Otherwise, it could start to stink. If you're wondering where to get this super helpful checklist to guide you along on your spring cleaning at home, it's available now over on my website, cleanthatup.com. I also have it all linked down below, but my goal with this is not to make you feel overwhelmed like you need to do all of the stuff we're talking about in today's video in one day. I really wanted to break it down into bite-sized pieces. That way you can do one each day, and by the end of the week, your living room is sparkling clean. The next item on this checklist is something we've done throughout this entire series in each room, and that is clean the walls, baseboard, trim, and doors. Now for the walls, I keep it simple, just a little dish soap and water in a spray bottle, spray to angle, and use a damp flat mop to clean the walls up and down. I like to do one wall at a time and clean my way around the room, that way I can stay organized and don't miss anything. Now the reason this is on every single page in the checklist is because this is a big job, and if you try to clean all the walls, all the baseboard, trim, and doors in your house on one day or in one task, let's be real, you're going to get a little overwhelmed, and it's just a lot depending on your space. So by breaking it up room by room, it just makes this job so much more manageable. Now the cleaner I like to use for painted and laminated surfaces is just the basic Blue Dawn, but if you're cleaning wood trim and doors and things, I like to use Murphy's Oil. But always remember, with both of these cleaners, a little goes a long way because they're very concentrated. As a reminder, or if you haven't watched the series so far, for the baseboard, trim, and doors, I like to use my 3-towel system, 1 towel to dip in the cleaner to clean, 1 towel dipped in a bucket with water only to rinse, and the last clean, dry microfiber towel to dry and buff the surface. And many times when cleaning these items, you'll find a few scuffs and marks, especially if the surface is a lighter color paint. So for that, I like to either use a melamine sponge, those work really well, or you can mix up a little baking soda and water into a paste and scrub that area, and that should remove it. But always remember, both of these are a little abrasive, so don't scrub super hard because we don't want you to damage the finish. And just like that, we made it to the last item on the checklist, and that is to clean our floors. Now, whatever type of floor that you have in your living room, the first step is we always want to go through and give everything a really good vacuum. And similar to our bedroom, I also like to move the furniture around a bit because usually you'll find some dust bunnies and things underneath your couch and chairs, and it's a good time to get those completely vacuumed up. If you do have a rug in your space, what I like to recommend is vacuum in a 360 pattern, and essentially what you're doing is just vacuuming in all directions. That way you can pull out as much dirt and debris from the rug as possible. Once that's done, I like to roll up the rug and vacuum underneath it because dust will work its way through the rug and sit on the hard surface there, and many times we don't vacuum that up throughout the year. For the hard surfaces, I like to mix up my cleaner in a spray bottle and use a damp flat mop. It's also a good idea to start at the corner of the room and work your way to the exit. That way you don't clean yourself into a corner and have to get wet socks or walk on your fresh, clean floor. The other thing I like to mention is keep your mop head clean. As you clean your floor, it will get full of dirt and pick that up from the surface there, but if it gets too full, it will start spreading it evenly across the area, and we don't want that. So either change it to a new one or give it a good rinse and keep cleaning. Now, if you do have carpet in your living room, or maybe even some rugs that you want to shampoo, don't worry, join me next week. I'm going to walk you through that entire process step by step so they all get nice and clean. Give yourself a big high five. You did it. Your living room is nice and clean. Now, don't forget to join me next week for the home stretch. It's the final week of the spring cleaning spree where we tie up any loose ends that we've yet to clean throughout the space. And remember, if you need a checklist or anything I talked about in today's video, I have everything linked down below or available on the YouTube shopping tab. I also need to give a huge shout out to all the Clean Squad members over on Patreon and here on YouTube memberships. Thank you so much for your continued support. We could not make these videos without your help. Now, if you want to join the Clean Squad, all you got to do is click the link down in the description for Patreon or the join button here on YouTube. And as I always say, I'll see ya on the next clean.